So, a long time no see. I decided to make a video today because I guess you could call it a little bit of marketing for something I'm working on now. Um, this is a slightly like an episode of something cool, to learn about. Also, I know in the thumb you probably saw the word sexpionage. I will get to that. um, but what I'm talking about today is something that I started a new book and not reading it, writing it, and it isn't what you would call like a classic spy novel by any stretch of the imagination. Um, it's more like it's got a little James Bondy stuff in it only because of the you'll see. Well, you won't see, but I'll tell you. First, I just want to get into a little bit about what the backstory of my book is about. And it's like spies, espionage, that kind of thing, sexpionage. But I want to first touch on what exactly espionage is and how serious it is. I've done quite a bit of research, which you probably are like, once I tell you more about what I'm writing, you're going to be like, why are you doing so much research? But anyway, um, so what the term that government uses for the agents that commit themselves body and mind to this work, it is called espionage, and it's classically defined as the practice of spying or using spies, typically by governments to obtain political and military information. Technically, espionage is a national security crime. Technically. To say that not all governments use it, it's just ridiculous. Everybody across the world uses it. Okay, we may be the best at it, but there's other governments that have quite the operations going on with this. But it violates Title 18 USC and Article 106A of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, to get technical. Now, there are five kinds of spies. Again, technically, there's local, inside, reverse, dead, and living spies. When they're all working in concert together, no one knows what their route is. And that's specific. It's supposed to be that way. It's called organizational genius. So it's almost like think about, I mean, honestly, it's like spinning a wheel. You have no idea where anyone is, and that's for a specific reason. But if a spy is caught, right, in the act of espionage, the crimes carry long prison sentences, even life in prison sometimes. And if you're caught and you're a military officer, you could get the death penalty. Just saying, don't just say. It's not typical anymore that happens, but it's out there as a possibility. I guess it really depends on what you're caught doing. Anyway, so that's the basic rundown of what espionage is, but I am not writing about that specifically these days. I am writing about something, have you ever heard of it? Sexpionage. I had not. I had never had the inclination to need to know what a word like that is. I just have never heard of it. So, of course, I was so curious. And according to Wikipedia, sexpionage is the involvement of sexual activity or the possibility of sexual activity, intimacy, romance, or seduction to conduct espionage. They're like kissing cousins. Espionage and sexpionage. You got to have one with the other, right? And sex can function as a distraction, incentive, or a cover story, or an unintended part of an intelligence operation. Now, in the Soviet Union, for example, they used female agents assigned to use these tactics, and they were called swallows or red sparrows. Sound familiar? Yep, your friend and mine, hopefully, J Law. Jennifer Lawrence movie, Red Sparrow. If you were interested at all in any of this, I would suggest watching it. It's definitely worth a watch. Definitely, it's eye opening. I'll tell you that. And there's a lot of stuff in it that, wow, just you know, bring your open mind because holy shit, it's all there for the taking. Um, the Russians, I mean, the Soviet Union also used something called the honey trap. They sort of invented that term. It's the same gist of the idea. That's what the women were called, the female agents. That's what it was called, what they did. The whole operation was honey trap. And that's designed to compromise, using sex to compromise, say, a diplomat or, other agents that would have an asset that would have possible information that would be beneficial to their government, whoever's doing the trapping. And then in East Germany, okay, a man by the name of Marcus Wolf, who also wrote a book called Man Without a Face, Man Without a Face, he masterminded a program called the Romeo Spies. Okay, the purpose was to infiltrate West Germany, politically, military, and security institutions using men as their weapon, as his weapon of choice. Now, the program was developed really out of practicality because it was cost effective and it was a very effective way to steal secrets. Okay, and it's Wolf believed that one well placed woman with the right access and motivation could provide more intelligence than 10 separate agents put together. And most candidates, like 99% of them, of the men who came in wanting to be a Romeo spy, were declined for one reason or another. They had to be, it was very specific. They had to be between 25 and 35 years of age. They had to be well educated, and very important, they had to have old fashioned type manners. Women apparently really respond to that. And I mean, I do. I love when a guy opens a door for me. I'm a sucker for it. I can't help it. But all these men were given false identities, and then they were sent into West Germany to find their Juliets. That's what they called them. Obviously, Romeo, Juliet, duh. But they were forbidden. So, so they say, forbidden to get married, even if true feelings did end up forming, which did happen from time to time. The men who were recruited were specifically to swear off any type of marriage commitment, and that was something that they had to promise. It's really hard to, you can't, I mean, it's like there's no NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, that says, you have to swear off marriage. Like, it doesn't even make sense. But they were sworn to make a promise to not get emotionally involved with their asset. It happened though. I mean, they're human. Um, for now, I mean, who knows how much AI is going to come in, take that all away. But anyway, so I'm about halfway through writing my book, okay? And if any of this sexpionage stuff sounds interesting, I would ask you to stay tuned. Keep an eye out, okay? There's another aspect to my book that is a huge departure for me. My past publications, the last 4 books I've done, which I think I'm putting up on the screen in like a collage. It's like I've done one on my dog. It's like a children's book. She's a rescue, Darla June, and she's like right there. She's looking at me like. I've also done 2 crime novels that involved a lot of, like CIA, FBI, actually mostly FBI to this point. But anyway, this book is more CIA. And then the last one I just did was, a UFO related book, which is funny it's just a big departure too. But this one is off the charts. It does involve obviously CIA spy stuff, but that's the backstory. That's the story that's surrounding the vast volumes of sex that I have included in this book so far. Sex. Well, let me tell you, I I'm doing this for two specific reasons, okay? I'm not a total like wackadoodle, but my first reason, honestly, I wanted to see if I could do it. I really enjoy writing and I like to push myself to try new things. Um, so doing this style book was a huge, as I said, huge departure for me and somewhat I didn't even know where to start. But then it's funny, odd. Once you start going, like once you start, you almost like a juggernaut, like a or a snowball like effect. I have always written sexual type scenes in anything I've done. I've also done 4 screenplays, and like three of them are comedies, and one of them's like a sci-fi comedy sort of, and I always kind of allude to the sex that takes place, but I never really get into describing it. Let me tell you something. I describe every blessed detail of sex in all types of manner you can even fathom, and I'm coming up with more as the days go on. So, and I, whatever. Now, my second reason is fundamental to life. It's money, okay? I have had more of my friends come to me and say, Rob, sex sells. Like everybody, whether they want to admit it or not, they read it, or they want to read it, or they're interested in it, or they whatever. It's like, you know, which it's funny, the more I write about it, not that it's desensitizing, because it's not, that's not what happens. It's just one of those like, did those words just come out of my brain? Like I'm surprising myself, and I think people would be really surprised at how much they enjoy the backstory to this as well, because it does, you know, as much of the sex that's present, and there's a lot of it, there's also a decent story that's going along with it that moves it along kind of naturally. Okay. I don't just have a pizza delivery boy like visiting different homes of like lonely or ignored, sexually deprived people. It's nothing like that. It's not the porno style, I guess, of movie or something. Um, but if any of this sounds even remotely interesting to you, I again would say just stay tuned. Just keep, I'll keep my progress coming. Oh God, I hate even using that word now. But I will. And if you write in the comments whether I could even put an excerpt out, I could either, I don't think I could read it to you, but I could put it out and you could see like an excerpt from the book, and see if it's something that you'd be interested in. But if that's something you think you'd be interested in, drop me a comment. I'd be happy to oblige. And until next time, I just wanted to just maybe toss that out as a pre-marketing ploy. I think the title's going to be, I don't know what the title's going to be. It's a work in progress. But again, I'm halfway there, so it's not going to be much longer. And I hope everyone's staying happy and healthy. Stay weird and open-minded, please. Don't judge me too harshly. And take care. Bye.